Afternoon, folks. Down here in the basement again today. Got a few more serious tools. Got my AHP AlphaTig 201 XT down here. Got a new bottle of argon. Got some silicon bronze brazen rods, and what I'm doing is something I saw on a couple of videos that I've always wanted to do. These are just some regular vice grip type clamps, and I saw in a weld.com video, Redbeard there, took some silicon bronze and laid it over these gripping edges here so it doesn't scratch up whatever you're clamping to. So I got one right there just done. Just had it in this little vise here, and kind of haven't done very much lately, so I wanted to get back into it. I took some of this copper wire, kind of wrapped it around here as like a little heat sink, because it still gets pretty hot, and so far I've found that you definitely want to let this silicon bronze cool between passes. Give it a good wire brushing to clean all the scale off, and it seemed to stay hot for quite a while. And I can't really validate this scientifically, but it seems like if you go to wire brush it and it doesn't turn that gold bronze color, it's still pretty hot, so let it settle down a little more before cleaning it up. But you definitely want to clean it before you make a subsequent pass, because again, it's a lot of oxides on there. But this one turned out pretty good, so I'm going to go for this top one. Not really sure how to weld with the camera, so probably not going to show very much of that. Don't want to wreck it, I just got it. But that's what I'm up to, so let's see how this next one goes. So this is kind of the setup I got. Just got that copper wire kind of wound around that bottom part. Definitely helps to suck some of the heat out. I got this little part on too that I just kind of put on top of there. Take a little bit more out. Got the machine set at about 70 amps. I'm using a foot pedal. Definitely helps out a bit. And these clamps are just from Harbor Freight, and they got this weird like brittle sort of coating on it. And for any welding, any TIG welding especially, you would want to clean that off, but especially for the silicon bronze, because it really needs a nice clean surface to run on when you get it hot. So I cleaned that up as best I could. Clean the rods up. Got my TIG gloves from weldmonger.com. Thank you, Jody. Add respect to Jody. Jody's where I actually learned about silicon bronze, so he's a good dude. So I'm going to weld this up, see how this pass goes. That's where I'm at so far. Just kind of try and lay beads over one another, make sure they overlap. I kind of got a little bit of a low spot there, but I'm probably going to do another pass anyway to grind it flush. But definitely let it cool in between. You can see how that's kind of dark and gray colored. It's because it's still pretty hot, and I've kind of checked it a few times, and whoop. Seems like that's a fairly good rule to follow, that if it's not showing up with that bronze gold color, that it's still pretty hot and it kind of oxidizes. Also, I noticed along the bottom there where the steel is, if you brush it and then the heat tint comes back, you see those colors, that straw and the blue, it's still pretty hot too. So I'd let it cool and then brush it until that heat tint doesn't come back, and then these silicon bronze beads end up being a little more gold colored. I mean, obviously I'm not too terribly concerned about the hardness of this steel surface here, because I'm overlaying it with a softer metal, but still no reason to cook anything. And that silicon bronze will turn out a lot better. They have a lot less oxidation and stuff if you take the time to let it cool and turn gold again. Clean it between every pass. Seems like it's doing alright though. You can see this definitely some heat tint to that copper there, so it's definitely helping to take some of the heat out. But yeah, it still gets pretty hot. That's the machine there. I've been pretty happy with this machine actually. It's got pulse, AC/DC frequency, all the stuff like that. It's got the foot pedal, so that's pretty good. Argon I got set at about 25 CFH. That seems to be doing just fine. And this welder, I got this welder for about 800 bucks or so with all this stuff, which was pretty good. I've been pretty happy with it. Not that I've really used it a whole hell of a lot, but it seems pretty good for a beginner machine. The only thing that kind of annoys me about it is it doesn't have a pre-flow setting, I guess, none that I see at least. So what you have to do is when you get ready to weld, you have to you got to tap the foot pedal to get the gas going before you initiate the arc. Otherwise it kind of crackles and makes a rough start. But other than that, it's been pretty good. It's doing fine. Still going along. Definitely a lot of time waiting for it to cool. You can see there it's still kind of dark, but we'll let it cool down and get back at it. It's going okay. I got like 4 of these to do, so I suspect that probably the last one will end up being the best. But I mean, welder's working great. This actually comes with like a flex head torch with a super flex hose, which was nice. I didn't actually know it would come with that, you know, and it comes with a proper foot pedal like you get with the Lincolns, not that weird one that came with the original AHP, the 200 or whatever. I guess Mr. Tig whined enough during his review of it that AHP took his advice and upgraded the accessories a little bit, which, don't get me wrong, I'm thankful for, but can we be honest here? What gives him the right to call himself Mr. Tig? I mean, did he invent Heliarc? Is he the best? No, I don't think so. So, I mean, well, that's great that he can get better accessories for these various machines. I don't know why he feels the need to call himself Mr. Tig. I mean, I wouldn't call myself Mr. Mig, Mr. Stick. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to let this cool a little more and get back at it. I'm working on another one now while that other one's cooling a bit. Changed up my technique a bit. Before I was dipping, kind of like you do normally welding, but I kind of switched over to more of a lay wire technique. I just kind of held the pedal down a little more and kept that rod in there as I went along. Kind of let me go a little quicker. Hopefully let it cool a little faster if I get out of there. And also it seems to, doing it that way, there's not as many voids in between dips. You make those little ripples, and it seems to be a little bit tougher to keep it all flat, more flat overall. And this way I think I can just go with one pass with those lay wire beads being a little thicker and not have to go over it again, just be able to grind it flush. So that seems to be working pretty well for now. There's another one I'm working on. Kind of try to do wider beads, kind of just put that rod in that puddle and then kind of weave over it a little bit. Just kind of less tie-ins, I guess. Less opportunity for there to be like voids and stuff like that. That will kind of cause you problems when you go to grind it off. This is the first one I did. Seemed to turn out okay. It looks cool, and you know, it doesn't really affect the grip of the clamps at all, so that should work out just fine. But yeah, this one will be good. I got this one, kind of let it set, let it cool for a little bit, but it's kind of cool, kind of fun. And again, don't really have any arc shots, you know, haven't quite figured that out yet, although you know there's no shortage of them online. More so just making these videos to practice making videos, more so than because I think I have anything earth-shattering to add to the conversation here. But you know, if I waited around till I was good at something to give it a try, then I'd never get anything done, so bear with me on that. Anyway, I'm going to keep working on these. That's about all I got to say for now. Thank you to Jody for selling me these gloves and introducing me to the wonders of silicon bronze. Thanks to Redbeard from Weld.com for giving me this idea to do on my tools. And thank you to Mr. Wyatt Swaim for whining enough to get AHP to upgrade their accessories. I appreciate it. So feel free to give a thumbs down, leave a mean comment. See you guys in the next one. Y'all take care.